I'll just hide this behind this pillar right here. I probably don't even need the mic, but I'm gonna use it anyway. Because then you'll think I have a nice, delicate voice, really. Actually, last night at Beast Women, since Patty mentioned it, I came out and I started to do my piece. And I was like, oh, can you guys hear me without the mic? And they were like, yeah. And I get into my piece, and like a minute into it, I look over, and our stage manager was like, so I was like rocking the house without the microphone. It's because I'm short. And when you're short, you're like, hey, I'm here. Can you see me? Can you hear me? I know, totally. But it's so weird because I'm one of those short people who like thinks I'm taller than I am. So I have all this like bravado, and I just like walk through crowds. Like people can see me, and I'm constantly getting like elbowed in the forehead because that's about the height I come up to. And it's funny because my brother's really tall, but he's one of those tall people who's like a dick because he's tall, and he's just like, what? Why can't you go on this ride? Which happens a lot. It actually happens a lot because we're from Florida. We are, it's true. I moved here from North Carolina, as Patty said, but I went to high school in Florida, and there's lots of rides down there. There's not a lot to do except get a fake ID and go on rides. So yeah, speaking of being short, it's like something about yourself you can't change, like being Jewish or a lesbian. And neither of those things, actually. But I would like to be both, and I'll tell you why. I didn't grow up like with a religion. I'm like half New Age hippie and half like Italian, Polish, old school guilt. So that's a fun thing to navigate in life. I had a joke that like led up to that was supposed to be the punchline, and I just told it backwards. So we'll get to it. It's fine. It's totally cool. But, so being Jewish, the thing is, I moved to I'm from New Jersey originally, so now, we're just gonna go through my, geographical history here, and that'll take up 7 minutes. I'm originally from New Jersey, the Garden State, I'm a total Jersey girl. It's true, it's the Garden State. You should eat corn from there and not from the Midwest, because it's disgusting. Because you know what they do to corn in the Midwest? They put mayonnaise on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Also, they probably put cheese and meat on it. And here's why. Because it's the Midwest. And you guys, I love how, and here's some things. All right, we're going to go on this tangent. Here's some things I love about the Midwest. Cheese.
Woo!
Meat.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah. And cheese and meat together. Because those are seriously like the highlights. I probably ate more meat in the 2 years I've lived in Chicago than I did all throughout being single in college. Because when I was in single in college, I was like, I should try to be a lesbian. All right, we're back to it. So here's why you can't be Jewish or lesbian. You can't decide about those things. So I wanted to be Jewish because I grew up without a religion. Like my mom was like, I'm Italian and I'm not going to be Catholic anymore. My dad was like, I'm Polish and I'm not going to be Catholic anymore. My dad was a musician. My mom was a cocktail waitress. It's the stuff dreams are made of, people. And clearly. And so I moved in with my dad in a suburb of Philadelphia that was primarily white and Jewish, and I was like, Dad, and I was 12, so I was like on the cusp of the big 1-3, and all the ladies that I wanted to be down with were having these super awesome parties called something mitzvahs. I forget if it's bar or bat. Bat. So bat for the ladies. Word. And so there I was like, I don't have a religion. Can I have a super awesome party and get lots of presents? Also braces, because all the Jewish girls in middle school had braces, and I thought it was so cool to have braces. Which apparently it's not. It hurts, and they're expensive. And then so the other thing that happened when I was in middle school there, when I realized I couldn't be Jewish and I wasn't going to have the bat mitzvah and I was just going to have to be Alicia from New Jersey, who was like living with her single dad and was already super weird. I was like, well, maybe I should be a lesbian then, because that seems to be getting a lot of attention. And I was in 7th grade. I just wanted people to like me. And I had this like defining moment. And years since, because as my friend, we were talking about Peace Women, as my friend and an amazing comic, Caitlin Berg, pointed out to me last night, she was like, you know, you've got everything on paper to be a lesbian. You've got the mentality, you've got the heart, you've got the like academic theory behind it. I was like, I know. One huge difference is like I don't want to do it with girls, which is unfortunate. It is. It really is unfortunate. And she actually asked me if me and my BFF were just BFFs or, you know, lesbians. And she asked us both separately if we were dating, and we were both like, I wish. And I was like, you know what, but we could just be like, why don't we date? Like, you know, because being straight, you're just basically brainwashed into that. You know, you just come out and they're like, you have no other options, and you think you're straight, but you might not be. The reason I know is because I've dated some of the biggest douchebags to walk the face of the earth. So I was like, really like, dude, so I'm gonna just keep dating them. And also, so I had this defining moment again in this suburb of Philadelphia where, you know, I'm like getting into my Peace Woman piece. I'm like, what show am I at now? But so I remember walking into school with my friend at the time, my only friend, because I was the new girl. And I was listening to my headphones, and I was listening to the Indigo Girls. And I think I was like in 7th grade in like 1990-ish, 90. So like, I mean, I was listening to like Jodeci too, but I was like also listening to the Indigo Girls, which was a little bit cutting edge, I thought. I thought I was like hip. And my girlfriend's like, listen, I'm walking into school, and walking towards me is Brett Lauer, like totally punk rock kid with like safety pins through his ears and like combat boots on. And then walking towards me from the other direction was Val Hines, like blonde hair, blue eyes, played field hockey, totally cool girl in school, right? And Brett gets to me first, and Mary Ellen leans over and she's like, if he asks you what you're listening to, say 9 Inch Nails. So I'm like, okay, I have no idea who this band is at the time, because I'm listening to the Indigo Girls. Feminist lesbian rock. I was 12. And so Brett Lauer gets to me first, and in that moment, as Val's walking towards me, you know, I say to Brett, oh, 9 Inch Nails. And he's like, oh, that's so cool, come to this party, blah, blah, blah. And then I turn to Val, and she's like, oh, what are you listening to? And I'm like, oh, I could just say Indigo Girls, and we could just carry on onto the field hockey field, and the rest of my life would make so much more sense. Which I didn't know then, but I know now. So speaking of dating, I'm on the OkCupid. I've seen you on there. You can clap. It's okay. Thank you. So for me, like being on OkCupid is kind of like shopping at Forever 21. When you're 33, because you're like looking through all this stuff that you know is not really your style, like it's not really gonna fit. Best case scenario, you like use it for the night, it falls apart in 3 months, you know. And the other thing about that, right? I'm right. The other thing about that's similar to OkCupid and Forever 21, I don't online date on any other site, so I can only speak to OkCupid. I'm like a connoisseur of OkCupid, is that people don't like to be called out on it. Because ever since I've been on there, I'll go out and I meet more people who are on OkCupid off OkCupid. Like I see them at the bar and I'm like, oh my god, that guy's on OkCupid. And I get really scandalized for a minute. Because I'm like, okay, I didn't like your profile enough to kind of come up with some witty message, but I'll walk right up to you in a bar and be like, hey, so I went OkCupid. Me too. And that's like by far the worst pickup line ever. Because nobody wants to admit that they're on there. And nobody wants you to like, you know, see them on, they like want you to see them on their site, where they're like self-presenting with their carefully picked out photos, you know. And it's just like the same girls I go up to and I'm like, oh my god, I love that shirt. You got it Forever 21, right? And they're like, no, this is from Anthropology. And I'm like, no, it's not. And neither is your boyfriend. Well, everyone's laughing, so I think I'm gonna stop there. I think that would be a good stopping place. I don't want to get my light yet, but it's such a loud set, I don't know. I'm gonna just, why don't you clap for me and it'll be